All right. Now, I don't think you can see this, but this says lead sheet to trust in the Lord. What I've done is I've eliminated a lot of notes. I've only provided the melody, the part that you would sing. If you'll see here, I took the F, G, A and wrote it here. And now I've only put the chord that we discovered in the whole piece of music and wrote it above each of the measures where there were chord changes. It just so happened that these chords only changed every time you crossed a bar line. But now some music changes more often. This one just ended up being fairly easy. I like easy, but easy doesn't mean it's not beautiful. It's a very beautiful piece of music. So if you just have the melody and the time signature and your chords, then you can actually play the piece without having anything else if you know how to play your chords. Or then your guitar player can play along too. So that is called the lead sheet. And we're just making a shorter way to hand out music in a different form to your praise and worship team. I know I played for a young people's praise team one time. I didn't know the music. I didn't have words. I didn't have lyrics. And the young man came to me and he just gave me these chords. He said, oh, it's just F, B flat, and C. And that's all we use for this piece of music. So as I was playing just right there in the church service, as they were singing, because it was in the key of F, then I started with F, and when I heard him change to a new chord, I would listen to see if it sounded like it was the B flat chord or the C chord, and then I would fill in with different keys on the piano, and it would enhance what they were doing with the guitars and the bass, and the drummer, of course, keeps the beat. So it's very important that you learn your scales and chords and what they sound like, because someone might just come up to you one day and hand you 4 or 5 chords written out on a piece of notepaper and say, can you play along with us? And these are the chords that we're using on this song. And then you wouldn't be caught off guard and not understand what to do. All right? Now, I want to have you look I wrote the scale out for you in F. I know that it has B flat, so I wrote from F to F, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, and F. And by going through each measure and determining, remember this piece, how it had all these different notes, we took all the notes and determined what basic skeleton chord was being used, and then we supplied it right above the melody. All right, but we're going to take it another step further. F is the first note of the scale. B flat is the 4th note, and C, and we will not worry about what the little 7 means for today. C is fine. C is even more basic than a little 7 next to it. But for your C chord, it's the 5th one of the scale. And I've used Roman numerals 1, 4, and 5 to show the numbers of the scale. Now, we're not going to take time to do this right now, but I just want you to see that the next step is to get rid of all the melody, because the singer knows the piece of music. They're going to sing it just fine. They've learned it. They're rejoicing at home. And you just need to have a 3/4 timing. And then here, for the first measure, you just simply have the 1 chord, which would be F if you're in the scale of F. For the next one, you would put what number? The 4. And so that's all I would need right here for this piece of music. I would know I'm in the scale of F, and I'm going to play 3 beats of the F chord. Now I'm going to play 3 beats of a B flat chord, but I'm using a different way to write it down with numbers, and I'm using Roman numerals. And one of your lessons will show that when you have a Roman numeral with like a capital I, and you have it looking like capital letters, it means major chords. And if you were to have a dotted I, it would be a minor chord. If you had a little degree sign written out to the side, it would be diminished. And if you had a plus out to the side, it would mean augmented. So we're doing some more concise things to come up with our numerals, our Roman numerals. All right. Now, there's another thing I want you to be aware of. Maybe the Lord means for you to be a studio musician and end up in Nashville, Tennessee. And if you're in Nashville, Tennessee, and you go to the music studio, you're a studio musician, then you need to know what the Nashville number system is. And it's just basically the same thing as the Roman numeral, except that now we're not going to use a Roman numeral, we're just going to use a 1. I'm going to put that it's in 3/4 timing. I'm going to call it the key of F. And every time I see a number, it means to give me 3 beats on that particular chord. All right. And so then my next number, let's go back and look at the little piece of music on the lead sheet. This would be my 4, and it's 3 beats. This would be a 5. That would be back to my 1. And then my 4. And then I would come do this one. What number would that one be? 1. What's that one? 4. 5. 1. And 4. And so on. And then my piece, I really want you to see this. Let me go ahead and do the last row. This one is 5, 1, 4. This one's a 5, and back to 1. There's my whole piece of music. Now, what's real exciting about this is, let's say you're practicing along with a praise team, and they've given you this as your music. This is for a whole song. You see how concise it is? But let's say the singer says it's just way too low for me to sing. Can you do it in the key of G? All you have to do is change this to G. And then instead of playing F chord, you would play the G chord here, and then what's your 4 letters up from G? A C would always be the 4, and then a D would always be the 5. And then you don't have to write your song out again. All you do is start in a different place. Okay, see how that works? If I'm on a piano, my 1 would be F, my 4 would be B flat, and my 5 would be C. But if I need to transpose, I could say go to the key of G. So my 1 would be G, my 4 would be C, and my 5 would be D. And then it's really easy to transpose. All right. So there are many possibilities. I want you to get excited about how you go from a song that was in this particular appearance in a songbook or sheet music without any helps at all. No chords for the guitar, no helps at all. You just play note for note what you see on the piece. And then you determine what the notes are to find out the basic chord. And then you go one step further and you find out what number it is in the scale. And you can use Roman numerals, especially if you're in a college theory class. But if you go to Nashville, you can go ahead and do it with this kind of numerals. One more video at the keyboard itself so you can hear a little bit of this.